My name is Teresa Khonach, and I'm a doctoral candidate in the Department of Sociology. Today I'm going to be presenting on a section of my dissertation project entitled Fit Parents, Mapping Neoliberalism onto the Parenting Body. Now, before I begin, I would like to ask, what do you think about your body? How would you describe your body? What are some words you commonly associate with your body? And finally, is it uncomfortable to think deeply about your body? I am a sociologist, meaning I study people in groups, from interactions between individuals to cultures and societies. I am also, however, particularly interested in the body and our embodiment, meaning our relationship to and experience with our body. Sociology, unfortunately, has a long tradition of ignoring the body, how we must navigate the world through our bodies, and ignoring how we negotiate and respond to constant messages about our bodies. I am sure many of us are familiar with the idea that our bodies are somehow too short, too hairy, too fat, in other words, lesser compared to an ideal. That our bodies could and should be some ever-escalating state of better. I study bodies because, well, we all have one. And we are all living in a time where we are told our bodies are simply never good enough and pressured to conform to unrealistic standards set by others. Now, while I study bodies broadly, my research today involves talking to parents in particular about their embodiment. Parents offer a unique viewpoint to explore how we navigate and understand changing bodies. I have so far conducted 20 interviews with parents. These interviews are in-depth and semi-structured, where I allow my participants to guide the interview and encourage them to speak on past experiences that resonate with them. I have included biological, adoptive, and foster parents, which has offered some unique as well as overlapping experiences. Interviews have lasted between 1 and 3 hours and have taken place over the phone or via video conferencing. I explore my topic using an inductive, grounded theory approach, meaning that my project may shift and change depending on the themes and patterns that arise within my data. My research questions, however, broadly, seek to explore how parents navigate a reality where their bodies are placed under intense scrutiny, where their bodies become central in their interactions with others. Now, before I continue, I want to introduce two concepts to help ground some of my participants' experiences. First is neoliberalism, which is a political framework that not only impacts structural mechanisms, such as policies and laws, but also impacts individual lives. Neoliberalism is an ideology rooted in the free market, which has also influenced political and social structures, such as laws and policies, as I've stated previously, as well as institutions like welfare, education, amongst others. The central components of neoliberalism is minimal government intervention with an emphasis on individual responsibility. Privatization, finance, and free market are emphasized at the cost of welfare programs and other state interventions for its citizens. As the US has adopted more neoliberal policies since the 1970s, the market has become a guide for human action, rendering us additionally responsible for our own health and well-being to ensure that we continue to be productive citizens. Under this scope of neoliberalism, individuals are now expected to practice self-surveillance and self-control, rendering the state absolved of responsibility of caring for its citizens. I argue that we embody these ideologies, where we are now under more intense pressure and have more intense responsibility to ensure we continue to be fit citizens, and in the case of my research, fit parents. Healthism is a concept that has its roots in neoliberalism, wherein culturally, we become worried about health at almost obsessive rates, even when no disease or illness is present. In other words, we construct our health as always inherently at risk of illness or disease. It is now expected that we always be trying to achieve better health outcomes, specifically individually. This may feel like common sense. Of course, we should worry about our health. However, issues arise when health is individualized, rather than taking in family history or environmental factors, when the body is used as a proxy for health status, regardless if any health issues are present, and then when one's supposed health status becomes the basis for their productivity, ability, and even their value as a person. My respondents express that their bodies often become central in their interactions with others, especially where weight is concerned, and feel as if they become invalidated as people. Those in charge of my respondents' care, such as doctors and social workers, often question my respondents' health based on nothing more than their weight, which in turn is also questioning their ability to be effective parents. Take, for example, Laura. She describes an experience with her new doctor during her second pregnancy. Laura is generally described as fit and regularly does weightlifting. When she was having a routine appointment, her new doctor, without even looking at her, declared that she needed to not gain any more weight. Laura describes feeling frustrated, rightfully, because she had no other health issues and because she'd actually gained more weight with her first pregnancy, stating at the time of our interview she felt like she was doing pretty good this time around. Brandon also expresses frustration when working with an adoption agency, where social workers expressed concern that he was too out of shape, in other words, too fat to be a parent. The worry from these social workers created additional barriers for Brandon, which could have prevented him from adopting his son. Brandon had to participate in additional physical tests, which his thin partner did not. Similar to Laura, he had no prior health conditions, but social workers saw his body and considered him an unhealthy or potentially unfit parent. Stacey recalls the time she was pressured by her doctor to be induced at 38 weeks because of her size. She was told the induction was because she had a high risk of birthing a large baby, but says her son consistently measured smaller than average and was born at only 6 pounds. Again, similar to Laura and Brandon, she had no prior health conditions before or during her pregnancy. However, her size was still deemed a danger to her baby. Her induction actually ended up putting too much stress on her and her baby, and she ultimately needed a C-section, which may have been prevented if she had been allowed to carry to term. These parents make up only a small portion of my respondents who express feeling invalidated by those who are meant to provide them care. Parents find their bodies become a proxy for health, where any excess weight deems them as inherently unhealthy, and when they are seen as unhealthy, regardless of actual health status, they are constructed as unfit parents or even as dangerous to their children. Healthism puts parents in coercive positions where their agency is then often challenged. Parenthood offers a focused view into how bodies are expected to be shaped in a culture zealously focused on health and wellness, regardless of how healthy that body actually is. Parents are expected to not only rear children, but to look good doing it. This idea, this pressure, is a familiar experience in our health-centric culture. The struggle of Laura, Brandon, and Stacey are visceral instances of the rigid hold that healthism has over us all. It is through their stories that we can begin to understand the standards that govern how others will try to, literally, shape us at all points in our life. Thank you.